The Strait of Hormuz is officially back open for business, at least for now. It comes after President Donald Trump put pen to paper, signing the agreement that starts the clock on 2 months of talks with Iran. The 14-point accord is set to be formally signed in Switzerland tomorrow, but the president's signature yesterday means the 60 days starts now. But it's already coming under fire from some lawmakers on Capitol Hill. Let's go live now to the nation's capital and CBS News congressional reporter Taurean Small. Taurean, what other reaction are we seeing on the Hill today to this?
Yeah, Liz, I think what's most striking about the reaction we're seeing from lawmakers, especially with Republicans, is the outright or open uncomfortability that they're expressing about this deal. There's a divide in the GOP with skeptics and then folks who are saying, let's wait and see what happens before they completely come out with their full resolve. But I found it striking that Senator Ted Cruz has been the sharpest critic here. He's made it clear to separate the military campaign from this deal, saying that it's really hard to trust that the deliverables in this would be truly beneficial for the United States and to the detriment of Iran's terror campaign and nuclear weapon development capabilities. We also heard from Senator Rick Scott, who said that it's very hard to trust Iran when it comes to the verification of whether or not they would be looking to enrich their uranium stockpile again. But Democrats are pretty united on this one. They're saying that this deal is far cry from the JCPOA, the Iran deal that was negotiated by the Obama administration, saying then there were clear goals that were outlined and that were verifiable, and that pretty much in their minds, President Trump pretty much stepped on his own feet when it came to landing this deal. I think the underlining question or underlying issue here across the board is whether or not Congress will have a say in this deal. That was something that was echoed by even staunch Trump supporters like Senator Lindsey Graham, who said, you know, from what he's seeing so far, he would still need it to come before Congress for its approval.
Yeah, speaking of Congress, I mean, one of the main points in the MOU states that the U.S. will terminate all types of sanctions against Iran. Doesn't that need congressional approval as well?
Yeah, I had to look this up. There was a law that was passed by Congress in 2015 that essentially required any changes or any deal when it comes to Iran nuclear capability as part of negotiations with the United States and any changes to sanctions against them as it relates to nuclear capabilities would have to go through congressional approval. I think the argument that we're likely to hear from the Trump administration in the coming days, especially as we go through the 60-day window, is whether or not that only related to or was connected to the Obama-era Iran deal and not this new one that they're negotiating. Here's the Vice President speaking a little bit about that.
We do plan to brief Congress very soon. You know, there are certain things that require congressional approval. There are certain things that don't require congressional approval. We feel quite confident that we can temporarily lift those sanctions without going to Congress and seeking their approval on that.
So the vice president there again making the case that there are some ways that he believes, at least on the legal side of this, that the Trump administration can go forward without congressional authorization on that. But I have to underscore again, this is a pretty clear case of Congress, at least the Republican led arms of Congress, looking to cede a bit of power to the president to give him enough runway to negotiate these deals on his own, even though there are war powers invested in Congress that requires their say on these matters. We'll see what happens in the next 60 days, but a lot of lawmakers are just very uncomfortable and are quite vocal about their uncomfortability on what we're seeing so far.
Taurean Small, thanks so much.